Hello, great people. I beg, if you help me see Boko Haram Bandits, help me tell them, say they don't enter Wahala as U.S. Army begins military operation in Nigeria. U.S. don't begin to spy all those places where all these Boko Haram, Bandits, ISWAP, Modus Esme, all the camp where they use. U.S. don't begin to use drone to spy on them. You will recall that Nuhu Ribadu, National Security Advisor, led a powerful delegation of who is who in Nigeria to the United States, and they had an agreement with the US government. What is that agreement? I will be revealing some of them to you. What is going on between Nigeria and the United States? What mode is US using to tackle these guys? How does this affect the relation between Nigeria and the United States? What is the consequence of this partnership? Is it at a cost? If yes, what is that cost? We'll be dissecting all this and more on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug, Dr. Omosholadeji. If you are watching me and you are yet to subscribe, of course, do want to subscribe to this channel so that as they drop the story, definitely it could land for your hand real time. Now look at this report, my dear people. It says US spy plane conduct reconnaissance over Borno to monitor ISWAP under Nigerian military deal, expert says. Now I will be revealing to you what this expert said on his X page, and I will be telling you what has been going on in Borno according to this report by Sahara. I will be exposing a lot to you, and I will also be dissecting the associated issues, and I'll be reading some specific quote in this particular report by Sahara. I will be reading it out to you. Let me start with this. It says a security expert, tracker, and a jihadi expert with special focus on the Sahel, Brand Philip. So if you look at the Brand Philip, not be Nigerian be that. I been Nigerian be Brand Philip has claimed that the United States has begun conducting operations inside Nigeria as part of an agreement with the Nigerian government aimed at tackling escalating terrorism. Waiting Brand Philip, waiting in the yarn. Make I read some of them out to you. Brand Philip says, confirming my earlier reports, a manned US ISR aircraft was conducting reconnaissance earlier today over ISWAP territory in southwest Lake Chad, Borno State. And I believe that you can see some of the video on your screen whereby the US military was reportedly targeting the base of these guys. And if care is not taken, all these guys will be taken out. And that is the prayer of any meaningful Nigerian. I'm surprised that we still have some terrorist sympathizers amongst us as Nigerians, and some of them even find their way to social media. But then may God grant Nigeria victory. Let me read the quote. Let me continue reading it for you. It says ISR aircraft was conducting reconnaissance earlier today over ISWAP territory in southwest Lake Chad, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. It originally took off from Accra, Ghana, and is currently on its way back. It means say the surveillance equipment they pick up from Ghana, come Nigeria, Borno State to spy. Then it will go back. May God grant US and Nigerian army, may God grant them victory. Now let's continue. It says the US Department of War is already conducting reconnaissance operations in western Nigeria from their base in Ghana without any public permission announced by the Nigerian government. Possible agreement being signed behind closed doors. So it means say Nigerian government, they signed this agreement behind closed doors. What would make Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have done it behind closed doors? Let me quickly dissect that for you before I read more quotes to you. You see, Tinubu would have done it behind closed doors because of the political consequence. As I said earlier, there are some people in the north, from the religious leaders, traditional rulers, who is who in the north. Some of them are sympathetic to the operations of these guys. So if they know or if they are aware that Tinubu gives the US a nod to conduct military operation in the north, some of them may start campaigning against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But let us look at it. If Tinubu signed this operation, will they still not know? Of course they will know, because assuming but not conceding, assuming there have been reports that the former governor of Borno State, now incumbent vice president Kashim Shettima, there have been reports before that is allegedly aligning with some of these Boko Haram guys. There's also a report that the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, is sympathetic to the operation of these guys. If this is true, and I use my word carefully that if this is true, there's no way these guys will not know about any military operation. And all they need to do is to leak it out to these Boko Haramis, and before you know it, the whole northern population will be aware. So it is a secret. But if we look at it well, it is also not a secret. And that is why the US was thinking of not involving the Nigerian government. The US was thinking that if we don't involve the Nigerian government, definitely we'll carry out our operations. But now they have informed the Nigerian government. It is now left for the Nigerian government to prove himself worthy of being aware of such sensitive information and collaboration. If there's any sabotage of any kind, then the US will either withdraw its support or carry out operations in Nigeria without the knowledge of the Nigerian government. I will come back to a further analysis on that. Let's get back into this quote as reviewed by the expert. It says, according to private source familiar with the military deal between the US and Nigeria, the US will be allowed to conduct UAV airstrikes against terrorist targets inside Nigeria. The scope only includes unmanned aircraft, UAVs, not fighter jets or bombers. It means that when the Tinubu government was to agree with the government of the United States, they said, we don't want fighter jets. We don't want bombers. You can use unmanned aerial vehicles, which is, I think, what they usually call drones, to map out targets and to bomb these guys. The Nigerian government said, we don't want all these your fighter jet and bombers. But then, if it escalates, or if the US discover that these Boko Haramis, these bandits, these ISWAP guys, that the unmanned aerial vehicle will not be enough, definitely they're going to deploy the fighter jet and air drones. But then, this is a good start, and I believe that it is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, Nigerian government will cooperate and everything will go smoothly. Now, let's go to another quote by the expert. It says, the American counterpart will mainly fill the ISR gaps of the Nigerian army with manned and or unmanned aircraft, and will likely, still unconfirmed, use the Kainji Air Base in Niger State as a launch pad. So it means a small time now, they're not going to launch the strike or the surveillance from Ghana again. The proposed place is Kainji Air Base in Niger State. Now, it says on Sunday afternoon, he wrote again, which is the expert, Philip, wrote again on X that the U.S. Air Force ISR aircraft returned for the third day in a row to spy over ISWAP Mantuka Krinwa in Borno State on the fringes of Lake Chad, northeast Nigeria. The aircraft is currently circling over the area and took off from Accra, Ghana as usual, he said. Now, that is the report so far. And trust me, if more information involved, definitely I would be sharing it with you. If you are watching me, you are yet to subscribe, of course, do want to subscribe to this channel. Now, what can we point to in all of this? For me, I think this is a good move by the US government, but I hope the operations won't be sabotaged again by saboteurs in the Nigerian army and the Nigerian government. What do I mean by that? There was a time when the Chibok girls were abducted. The US decided to help Nigeria to rescue those children, and the partnership with the US Army partnered with the Nigerian government. But when they were planning for the operations, and the US government reportedly want to spray something like a chemical that it will make the people to sleep off, and when they've slept off, they will just carry out the operation, rescue those girls. All the Boko Haramis, they will don't sleep off. But the US discovered that when they will go for pre-operation surveillance, most of the Boko Haram guys were allegedly wearing masks. Who gave them that information? It will apparently be from the Nigerian government or from the Nigerian army. So this is another opportunity. I just hope that the saboteurs in the Nigerian government and Nigerian army will not sabotage this effort again. Now let us look at it. Does Nigeria have a choice? Does Nigeria have a choice? Well, for me, I think that Nigeria does not have a choice than to accept US intervention. Nigeria no get choice. So whether you like it or not, you must accept. Why do I say so? I'll give you like 5, 6 reasons. Number one is ISWAP, Boko Haram is bandit. All these guys, they seem to be well equipped. I don't want to say more equipped than the Nigerian army. So let me use well equipped. These guys seem to be well equipped. If you see the arms and ammunition that they are brandishing, you go look, say, these guys, they loaded though. So if you want to counter such people, definitely if the current state of the Nigerian army is anything to go by, the current armory that we have, some of them that have been sabotaged and taken over by some of these insurgents, definitely Nigeria needs support. So Nigeria has no choice. If you want to tackle an enemy that is well equipped and you are as equipped as them, or you are not as equipped as they are, definitely you need that extra support. And that is what Nigeria is getting from the United States. Another reason is that the Nigerian military is overstretched. If you look at it presently, the Nigerian army is overstretched. Army, they do police work. Army, they do civil defense work. So the military have been abused by the political leadership of Nigeria. Rather than for them to equip the police to make the institution strong, they decide to be using the Nigerian army. Tackling some of these internal insurrection is not the job of the Nigerian army. The job of the Nigerian army is to protect Nigeria's sovereignty, Nigeria's territorial integrity, and be ready to combat any external aggression against Nigeria. So to tackle all these Boko Haram bandits, we be saying just like local issues, is not really within the scope of work of the Nigerian army. But then the Nigerian army have been brought into it, and now they are overstretched. Another reason why Nigeria no get choice than to accept US intervention is banditry is now a prominent act in the informal economy. Banditry now in the rain. These bandits are having a field day. The Nigerian youth, particularly some of them in the north, they have seen these guys that they are a lot on they are a lot onto themselves. They are operating fine. So this impunity is attracting some of these guys. So there is a banditry economy, which is that become a bandit, the state will not be able to touch you. You will have access to arms and ammunition, and you can also act with impunity. And at the end of the day, you would be able to behave and operate as you like, and you have access to money too. So the banditry economy is booming, is getting out of proportion. So Nigeria have no choice than to accept the US intervention. Another thing is that the US has zero tolerance for terrorism, whether you like it or not. Even if you don't agree, say US, come and help us, the US will still go ahead to act because they have zero tolerance for terrorism. After the 9/11 event, the US has been going all out to make sure that anything that has to do with this insurgent is sufficiently tackled by the government of the United States. So anywhere all these bad guys did, whether it is in Europe, in Africa, or in Asia, the US has taken it upon himself to take them out, because they believe that if you take them out, they won't be able to expand, they won't be able to affect US business and interest in foreign land, and they would not be able to attack the United States. That is one reason. Another one, make I give you this last one, is the US can and will act without Nigerian government's permission. So if person fit act without your permission, if that person can't seek your permission, the best way to hide your shame now to grant that person permission, because say if you say no, if US decide that they want to act, they will still act with or without your permission. So it better may you form your big boy JJ by approving the United States to act. So the Nigerian government have no choice apparently. But what I can say is, you see, my dear people, we need good leaders. We need good leaders and accountability. The leaders of the United States will not be able to help Nigeria if they are as corrupt as Nigerian leaders, and if they are stealing the country blindly like Nigerian leaders are stealing our common patrimony. If corruption dey United States the way e dey Nigeria, if they steal everything and anything available for US the way they steal for Nigeria, if US leaders be like Nigerian leaders, they no go get anything wey they fit use help us. So we should not only be relying on help, we should try and be independent in terms of military operations. And one of the ways that we can achieve that is to curb corruption and blind stealing. The big question is, will the US help us for free? If no, at what cost? Is it for Nigeria to open the market more, what we call free market, to make Nigeria market more free? Is it access to Nigeria's mineral resources? Is it for Nigeria to dissociate from China? It's either one of these. If it will come at a cost, it will be one of these costs that I've identified for you, because let's be realistic with ourselves. Some of these Western countries, they barely help for free. So the big question that we need to be looking at is that if they are not helping us for free, at what cost? Is it for Nigeria to open its economy and market? Is it for Nigeria to take deportees from the United States? Is it for Nigeria to grant them access to some essential mineral resources, or for Nigeria to dissociate from China? China is one of the economic enemies of the United States. Nigeria has been aligning strongly with China. So is it at the cost of dissociating with China? We'll be getting to know all this in the days ahead. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug, Dr. Omosholadeji. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.